Hello everyone, my name is Zubia Sheikh and welcome to my YouTube channel Zootopia, a learner's land. I myself am a learner from Bombay Teachers Training College, Mumbai. Today we will be looking at the revolt of 1857 in India. If you recall, in my previous video, I had shown a timeline of various events that took place during the Indian freedom struggle. If you have missed out on that video, then you can simply click on the link that I have provided here that you can see on your screens, or the link that I have given in my description box. Now coming back to the revolt of 1857. This revolt had many names: the Indian Rebellion of 1857, the Sepoy Mutiny, the Indian Mutiny, the Great Rebellion, and so on. This revolt took place in 1857, that is almost 163 years ago from now. So let's learn about this revolt in much more detail. First, I'll be looking at the causes of the revolt. That why was this considered the first revolt of Indian independence? What triggered this revolt and what were the reasons behind it? Then we'll look at the spread of the revolt. Where did this revolt reach? In which regions and which areas? Then we will look at the cause of the failure. Though this revolt was very important and crucial in our history, but it was not a successful one. So we will look at why did this revolt fail. And lastly, we'll look at the impact of the revolt, the aftermath of the revolt. So let us start off with the causes of the revolt. What exactly triggered this revolt? First up, we have the political factors. The Britishers wanted to expand their territories. Most of the Rajas, Nawabs and Zamindars were either dispossessed from their state or became a subsidiary to the British. The East India Company had planned a way of expansion, and many Indian states easily fell prey to the policies of the East India Company. During the period of Lord Dalhousie, who was the then governor of India, he introduced many policies which helped in expansion of the British Empire. He introduced the doctrine of lapse, which annexed many Indian states the charges of misgovernance and absence of an heir. Some of the states that fell under this doctrine were Jhansi, Nagpur, Satara, Jaipur and many more. And as a part of this doctrine, some titles and pensions of the Indian princes were confiscated. The economical factors. The Britishers exploited the economical resources of India to their advantage. India turned into a colonial economy to serve the British capitalist interests. Heavy taxation, evictions, discriminatory traffic policy against Indian products, and destruction of traditional handicrafts that hit the peasants, artisans, and small zamindars. This was a vital factor as it affected a large section of Indian society. Ever since the grant of Diwani was made to the British in 1765, land revenue became an issue of much burden. Social and religious factors. Racial discrimination was the prime factor. Indians suffered badly in the hands of the Europeans. There was visible racial exploitation wherein Indians were not allowed to mix with the Europeans. There was discrimination that was also carried out at public places. This generated discontentment against the domination of whites in India. Until 1800, the British were not keen to interfere in the social and religious affairs of Indians. But in the beginning of the 19th century, when some Indians came forward, the Britishers began to support their bid of social reforms by the method of legislation. Some social legislation were passed like abolishment of sati, abolishment of child marriage, widow remarriage and many more. These social legislations were all understood by Indians as a bid to impose Christianity over them. And then also the introduction of English education, the propagation of work of Christian missionaries led to unrest amongst the Indians. The military factor. The Indian military was largely discriminated in terms of salaries, pensions, and promotions. Indians were subjugated in the military while their European counterparts faced no such discrimination. During the time of Lord Canning, two important laws were passed. Both these acts were passed in 1856, that is, on the eve of the revolt. The first act was General Service Enlistment Act. This act meant that if Indian military personnel were posted abroad, they wouldn't be entitled to get extra allowances. Thus, this act was a jolt to the prospects to the Indian military personnel serving under the East India Company. The second act was the Religious Disabilities Act. The Indian soldiers skipped appointments that involved serving in a foreign land due to social and religious barriers. But after passing of the Religious Disabilities Act, they would have to compulsorily take the appointment, otherwise they would lose their jobs. At the same time, the use of religious symbols in the military was also prohibited and restricted. Except all the factors that we have seen, there was also one immediate factor that triggered this revolt largely. The immediate factor was the introduction of Enfield rifle. It was said that the cartridge of this rifle was wrapped in the fat of cow and pig. The cartridge had to be bitten off before loading it into the gun, like you can see in the picture. And therefore, the Hindu and the Muslim soldiers were very reluctant to use this Enfield rifle. In Bengal, the soldiers of the 34th Native Infantry refused to obey the commander B.O. Mangal Pandey, who led the uprising, wanted to kill the commander, but he was overpowered and he was hanged. Mangal Pandey was the first rebel who was hanged in the revolt of 1857. This sparked a collective uprising in the form of revolt of 1857. Now let us look at the spread of this revolt. The revolt spread to Behrampur in Bengal. On 24th April 1857, about 90 men of the native cavalry stationed at Meerut refused to accept the greased cartridges. On 10th May, the revolt started at Meerut and the mutineers, after killing some of their officials, marched towards Delhi. On 12th May, Delhi was seized and Bahadur Shah II was proclaimed the Emperor of India. In Kanpur, the revolt was led by Nana Sahib, who declared himself the Peshwa and governor of Bahadur Shah. Tatya Tope was also an important leader in this revolt. In Lucknow, the revolt was led by Hazrat Mahal, the Begum of Awadh, and Rani Lakshmi Bai assumed the leadership of the mutiny in Jhansi. In Bareilly, Khan Bahadur Khan proclaimed himself as the Nawab and led the revolt there. The other centers of the revolt were Banaras, Allahabad, Gwalior, Indore, Aligarh, Kota and many more. The revolt in these places were led by many different leaders. At all these places, the sepoys killed the senior officers and other Europeans. However, the superior British forces soon suppressed the revolt and Bahadur Shah was arrested and deported to Rangoon, where he died in 1862. The rebels were defeated by General Havelock in Kanpur. At Jhansi, huge rose suppressed the revolt and Rani Lakshmi Bai died in the battlefield. Bareilly and Gwalior were also recaptured by the British officers. After witnessing everything about why the revolt was triggered, how it spread, let us now look at the cause of failure. The revolt was eventually not successful in removing the Britishers from the country because of several factors. There were three major factors though. The first one was that the sepoys lacked one clear leader. There were several of them. They also did not have any coherent plan by which the foreigners would be routed. Indian rulers who aided the revolt did not envision any plan for the country after the British were defeated. Majorly, northern India was only affected by this revolt. The three presidencies of Bengal, Bombay, and Madras remained mostly unaffected. And hence these three major factors resulted in the cause of the failure of this revolt. Though this revolt was not a complete success, it did create an impact and it did bring out some change. The first change was the policy change. The Queen's Proclamation of November 1858 announced that the policy of British government to be followed from now on in India. The right of ruler to adopt a child in absence of a natural heir was accepted. The second one was the administrative change. On January 1st, 1877, Queen Victoria was proclaimed as the Queen Empress of India, and the administration of India was transferred from the East India Company to the British Crown. The third one was the reorganization of the army. The army was reorganized to strengthen British control over the country and avert any further rebellions in future. And the last one was the communal and racial bitterness. The revolt of 1857 created a gap between the different religious communities, especially the Hindus and the Muslims, as they each blamed the other for its failure. This revolt impacted in a positive and in a negative way, but nonetheless, this revolt was the start of our revolution. It was a very crucial revolt as it gave us the boost to continue the fight for independence. And here we are now, independent and free. Thank you so much for visiting my channel and watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope you have learned something out of it. Stay tuned with me to explore more historical treasures. See you soon. And I would like to end this video with a quote by Martin Luther King. We are not the makers of history. We are made by our history.